I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Operation Freedom Briefings. The goal of these briefings and my weekly radio show, Operation Freedom, is to provide you information the bought-off lamestream fake media will never touch. You can join us on DaveJanda.com. We have a public side, and we also have a subscription side for a mere 30 cents a day. We can go a little bit deeper in the weeds and do deep dives on issues that we can't go into on a 23-minute segment on our radio show. Our radio show airs out of the People's Republic of Ann Arbor, Michigan on Wham Talk 1600. You can stream it live at DaveJanda.com every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern. Look, I want to focus on what's happening with the eye of the storm with Trump. And the eye of the storm of Trump is focused on one thing only. And that is the human trafficking pedophile networks. You see, that is the, if you will, control mechanism for the globalist syndicate. Conspiracy theory? No. Conspiracy fact. Go to DaveJanda.com. We have a free interview there with Craig Sawyer, former Navy SEAL, leads a Viper team, former Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, and Delta Force operatives. They're taking on and taking down the pedophile networks around the country and around the world. Listen to that interview. Add to that this information that we're going to present today. Look, December 21st, 2017, Trump issued an executive order entitled "The Executive Order Blocking the Property of Persons Involved in Serious Human Rights Abuse or Corruption." Read that as human trafficking and pedophile networks, that he declared war against the globalists by taking out their control mechanisms. Now, many people say, well, I haven't seen many ramifications of that executive order. Not looking hard enough. Why do I say that? Because at the Department of Treasury, in their Office of Foreign Assets Control, there is a 1,100-page document of individuals and organizations that have had assets seized, their accounts blocked, and or are in the process of being prosecuted. Go to Department of Treasury, type in Office of Foreign Assets Control. In addition, and we talked about this in our last video, there was an executive order issued on March 1st, 2018 by President Trump and his amendments to the Manual for Courts-Martial. And what it essentially does is prepares the way for Nuremberg-style tribunals. Now, these tribunals are going to focus on, if you will, the globalists that have been stripping you and every American of our collective freedoms and liberties for decades. They use the pedophile and human trafficking networks as a means of control through blackmail. They also use it as a huge funding source. Now, there's another piece of information that dropped on March 13th, 2018. Through the whitehouse.gov, President Trump is working to end human trafficking. This was a release. Quote, "My administration will focus on ending the absolutely horrific practice of human trafficking, and I am prepared to bring the full force and weight of our government, whatever we can do, in order to solve this horrific problem. Human trafficking is an affront to human dignity, with millions affected worldwide. Human trafficking is a global atrocity that deprives millions of their universal human rights." He goes on, "Human trafficking, also known as modern slavery, affects people from all backgrounds at home and abroad, placing millions into a sickening form of exploitation. Per the International Labor Organization, there may be as many as 24.9 million victims of forced labor across the world, with millions going unidentified and unseen. Children are especially vulnerable to this evil practice, as they account for 25% of modern slaves." He goes into the number of arrests that have occurred in 2017, 1,602 arrests, 578 convictions, 518 victims of human trafficking were released upon the takedown of these networks. He also goes on of where they're focusing their efforts. 1, prosecution of traffickers, protection of victims, and prevention of human trafficking. Bottom line, when you go to DaveJanda.com and listen to that interview with Craig Sawyer, you will see and hear from a person on the front line of taking down these networks what this is about. Many people in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor, Michigan, right out those windows, say, "Oh, Dave, that's conspiracy theory about these pedophile networks." No, it might be conspiracy, but it's conspiracy fact. I can assure you that these pedophile networks are unfortunately alive and still working to this date. Many have been taken down, but there are many more to go. It's these pedophile and human trafficking networks that have adversely affected and if you will, infiltrated the echelon in Wall Street, in Washington, including Congress and many folks in many departments in our government, as well as Hollywood. It's how the globalists get control. And what Trump has done is declared war against the globalists, and he's doing that by driving a stake through the heart of their human trafficking pedophile networks that they use for their control mechanism, and they also use it as a huge source of financial windfall for them. It's sick. Well, no, it's satanic is what it is. That's what this is all about. And the reason why we are seeing such blowback of the globalist syndicate against Trump and those around him is because they're trying to protect their networks. They're trying to protect their human trafficking gravy train that they have. It gets very explicit in my interview with Craig Sawyer. This is about globalists repetitively raping children. But it gets worse. I know, it's hard to believe something could be worse than that. Many of these children that are victims of these repetitive rapes are in fact then murdered. And many of these children that are murdered, their organs are harvested and put on the black market. You don't have to believe me. Listen to that interview with Craig Sawyer. Go to davejanda.com. It's a free interview under featured interviews. Listen to it. And then network it. Because this is information the bought-off lamestream fake media will never provide. Why? Because that same fake media network is owned and operated by the globalist syndicate, the same globalist syndicate that's perpetrating these horrendous crimes against children and people around the world when it comes to human trafficking and pedophile networks. Please join us at davejanda.com, either on our Sunday show where you can stream live for free, 2 to 5 p.m. on every Sunday. Join us on our free platform at davejanda.com. And if you're interested, learn more about our subscription platform that goes for 30 cents a day. Until next time, this is Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail.